everybody, this is Glenda, and I am going to be working on a historical figure in order to come into a fictitious figure. And so this is going to take a while. And we would not have, the Halloween season wouldn't be complete without Dracula. But Bram Stoker, who wrote Dracula, had an influential person from the 15th century called Vlad the Impaler. Now, actually in Romania, he's a hero. Or he was. I don't know if he still is. But he was born in 1431 and he died in battle in 1476. They were considered the royal family of Wallachia, if I can pronounce that right. It is now Romania. I think it's gone through a couple of names. I am going to try to sketch something of this battle. But first we need to know Vlad. And him and his younger brother were turned over to the Ottomans by their father in order to keep the Ottomans from coming. So they were to be raised in the Ottoman Empire and belief systems and all that. That didn't set well with Vlad. Vlad knew. He was old enough to know. But when he found out that his father and his older brother had both died, back to Wallachia, I'm going to say Romania, I'm sorry. And he went to war with the Ottomans to reclaim their land. Not the Ottoman land, not Turkey, but the land of Romania and that area. So the first time his first attempt failed. He won and then he lost again. So then he got mean and he went after them. This was when he started with the impaling. This, for him, I believe, was a mission of vengeance. And now I'm not gonna give him any sympathy as far as for being that torturous of people. But I think we should remember that a lot of those places back then had some kind of terrible torture, like the rack, pendulum, just some really nasty stuff. So, because their intent was to make things painful. But living on a spike until your heart couldn't beat anymore, that would be awful. So, this is where I'm going to get into this. I am going to try and draw out the spike with the people on it. It's not going to be, I said I wasn't going to try, but I'm going to try. I decided I would. And this is not for the art. Yeah, I'm doing that, but this is for the story. But he knew who he was. And that's one thing that I think is very important to his story, because his younger brother, I don't believe he remembered who he actually was. And I don't know if they were even raised together once they got into the Ottomans' grip. I'm giving him very broad shoulders just because it shows strength of will, maybe not of character, but it's physical strength. The idea is just profoundly disturbing. Once they're impaled like that, I'm sure they died within minutes. But every minute of that would have been excruciating. Just I mean, we know of a lot of people from the back in the history that have been very cruel. Ivan the Terrible, I think he was a Viking, I don't know. But this is the life of a real man. And when he regained power, yes, he did leave a lot of bodies in his wake. I'm not going to draw any more bodies on a stake. We got the idea. He's bigger than they are. He was meaner than... he was mean enough to do that. I'm going to give him some size. And this is definitely not... But I'm going to put Romania over here. And Ottoman here. That geographically the lines would not be drawn correctly, but for our little thing here. But he is considered a hero to his people, or he was at that time. And because he freed them, he made Romania a country again. It was no longer under, it was not under Ottoman rule. It was not under any kind of Ottoman influence. It was now Romania. And there was a royal castle of some kind. Now, was Transylvania a city or, I can't remember for sure. We had so much fun company with our company, and I was pastor and a couple of other people came down. Lots of laughs, lots of stories, but we'll say that this is the castle up here. I'm not doing a great job, guys. And right now, that's not my deal. This is this is the reality of a nation and a person and people. I mean, I don't know exactly what the Ottomans did. They might not have been any better, but what they call Dracula's castle today, they did actually put the A on the end of Dracul, which means son of Dracula, or son of Dracul. At least that's what it had in there. But yet, he is considered to be one of the most, one of the most horrifying figures of history. But I just don't, I mean, I don't excuse anything he did. That's not what I'm doing. It was, it was horrific. And in our society today, especially, we consider it really horrific. But in those days, I'm sure he wasn't the only one who impaled people. And I know there were even the Catholic Church used some very nasty, and I'm not just putting that on the Catholics. They pretty much were the church back then. But there were a lot of other religions. And they did terrible things in the name of their religions too. Well, the Romans did. They crucified, and even after Jesus skin tone, I really don't know. They have it as a kind of, I guess, Eastern European skin tone. I don't know. I'm going by what I see, and I don't know how accurate it is. But then I will put that off of Pixabay. I'll put that one at the beginning when I first start talking about him, and you'll get an idea of what the guy really looked like. Because he really didn't look like what I'm doing here. I need to keep talking so that this makes some sense. I don't know if any of some of you may not even know about Vlad's. Some of you are pretty young, and they've tried to hide some stuff out of the history books these days. In Romanian, his name was Vlad Tepes. He regained his seat as of royalty in 1476. He was evidently at war for a lot of that. You consider there's been the time since he was born, he was kind of growing up. Then he was growing up in the Ottoman side. Then he came back. He must, I don't know, probably by the time his parents died. He didn't have a real long life. He died in 1476 in battle. This was a very rugged time. For people who worked the land and did that, they, I suppose, probably tried to stay as far away from this as they could. But yet, soldiers, generals, whatever, they were considered to be those who took care of everything. They were feudal types of governments and stuff back then. For the Roman Catholic Church to send word for him to fight the Ottoman Empire, his father, and them to fight the Ottoman Empire and depose them, these were supposed to be Roman Catholics. It's probably why the Romania was given this name. And so he fought in he was not nice, but he wanted his enemies to know. That's why they do this stuff. That's why they would hang people in the middle of a town in the Old West and leave their bodies hanging as a warning. And so I don't know how many people he impaled. Supposedly a lot. This is not a great drawing. It's not intended to be a great drawing. It's intended just to give a message and to give a history. Now, when Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, impaling would not have been very, he wrote it, no, I thought I had it written down somewhere, but he was in England when he wrote this, and it was like in, I don't know, but probably in the 17th or 18th century, maybe even the 19th, but, I have to look that up again. I probably will but, this was a very, very dirty war. And so he's gained a very big, bad reputation. But the country of Romania lived and prospered. People didn't live the way we live, but they had their country. And so now they've got this reputation in like the Transylvania and all that kind of stuff, this reputation for vampires and all of this stuff. And they're people. Vlad was a mean ruler, not of his people, but he was a mean enemy. When you win a battle, you lose a battle, you win a battle, it goes back and forth for a while until finally one surrenders and admits defeat. I suppose the impaling had something to do with the Ottomans admitting defeat or just not crossing him again. So, I love you all. I will do more art with Dracula. I may even do some sculpting because I think I do better sculpture of Dracula than I would drawing him. I'm just so bad with faces. But, of course, his face is different anyway. But, okay. Love you. Good night. And we will see you again tomorrow.